maybe now it can actually like pick up my microphone. Dope. Alright, so I just went. It's loud? Alright. Is it the voice that's loud or the music in the background that's loud? Because the music. There we go. I dumped that to 15. And we'll dump my audio to about 8, 9-ish. There we go. How's that? Alright. So I just explained that basically the recap is that the Russians came in from the eastern side. There's these ton of reinforcements here. They also had some tanks, 2 of which are down in the southwest, and they're going to make their way up north via this main road. There was a bunch of rally attempts. Sadly, both of the German mortars, one doesn't have a squad or a crew anymore. It died. One crew manning a HMG or MMG died while trying to rally. I copied one of the crews to bring them over here, mainly just because the tanks have inherent crews. I didn't calculate it, which you're supposed to do. So kind of just a dumb move on my part. Have to thank the members over at Game Squad that pointed that out. That I didn't calculate that. It's not going to be a huge difference. We're talking like 2 CVP. So it's not really going to matter in the long run. Or at least I don't feel like it's going to matter all that much in the long run. Maybe I'm wrong, but regardless. So did all the rally attempts. Something to keep in mind if it's your first time playing the Red Factories campaign. Normally you're allowed 1 self-rally for the attacker. So in this case, because it's the German turn, as we can see by the turn marker here, because it's a German turn, then it means that the Germans actually get to self-rally 1 person. Russians do not. They have to wait for their turn. In the case of such a large game like Red Factories, or at least in this specific instance, Red Barricades, Red Factories is the combination of both these 2 maps, separated by this red line that I've made. So in the event of Red Factories, it'll be 4 per side self-rallies, just because there's such a huge number of units involved. And in Red Barricades, which would be just this portion, it's 2. So unfortunately, I didn't have 2 squads that could self-rally. There's I don't want to say strange, but there's an interesting issue that creeps up with this stack specifically. Because there is a squad that could technically self-rally, but there's also a leader. You can't have a squad self-rally, or at least attempt to self-rally, and then a leader self-rallies, and then he attempts to self-rally or rally units in his stack. You can't attempt to rally twice. So because he also had a DM on him, which basically means it's a desperation morale, so it adds a huge modifier. There is not much of a point in having in trying to self-rally your squad if you have a leader with them. One, because the leader is inherently better. Even if he's got even if he doesn't have any modifiers, you wouldn't incur a +1 modifier for self-rally attempts. So, anyways, all to say that guy could self-rally. The Russians got lucky with 1 or 2 rallies, especially this one, because that was they just needed a 4, which was really impressive. And I believe it was a conscript squad here that also rallied. So, bunch of rallies or at least a good number of rallies to do on either side. But sadly, the Russians seem to have come away with the upper hand on that one. Now that we're in the prep fire phase, which is the second phase of the turn, the most important thing to keep in mind is that mortars, if you wish to shoot smoke, mortars must be the first thing to shoot. You can't have a mortar. The idea is that you can't just like shoot at a bunch of people and then drop smoke, because it's really gamey. You're kind of like thinking about it in gameplay terms. It doesn't make much sense that you would shoot, then smoke, and then advance. because it kind of breaks the sort of natural order of things, especially with how like turns are supposed to represent a specific amount of time in this game, and so on and so forth. So what we will do is looking at the smoke. Because it's a mortar, you can apply what's called a full power smoke versus infantry usage, which they're different. The idea is that a mortar can drop smoke, and its smoke will last longer than just like a handheld grenade or smoke grenades. So it's something to keep in mind between the two. So to drop smoke, all we have to do is look in our ordnance to hit, which is what the mortar uses at all times. And we're going to be looking at area, because mortars always attack on the area target type. Because, well, look, mortars are not super accurate, so it's always an area rather than a specific target. As well, if we're within 6 to 12 or 0 to 12 hexes, you get a +2 modifier, basically meaning that this to hit, instead of being a 7, is a 9 for smoke. So generally speaking, smoke, you usually get it rather often. Another thing to keep in mind is that the weather, because if this was any worse, if there was rain instead of just being moist, it would cancel out smoke, and that is obviously a really bad thing to happen to a player that really wants to make best use of smoke. Now, just gonna see. Okay, there's no modifiers there. Perfect. All right, so again, I don't have any other mortars. I think I might have. Yeah, I've got one over here, but he can't shoot because he's in a building, so that doesn't matter. I don't think I have any mortars over here. So first things first, I'm gonna use this squad to shoot this mortar over here, because he has line of sight from over here. He has line of sight. Area target type, I'm just going to shoot at, because this building is a 2-story building, I'm not shooting at the ground floor, which obviously he wouldn't see it just because of the debris here, debris there, debris, and the wall. I'm shooting at the second floor, and the smoke is going to cover the entire hex. So we will do a to hit. I will get 6, which should place a smoke. Now, first things first, that guy gets marked as a prep fire, and I get to put smoke. Now, the big thing to remember is that, again, when you're creating smoke, there's a certain power to it. We can see that there's a +3, a +2, and there's the gray ones. Basically, the idea is that +3 is your full power smoke. After a turn, the smoke turns into a +2 because it diminishes, and the gray ones are, if I remember correctly, supposed to indicate drift due to wind. So, for example, we see that this counter here, we have wind that's going directly south on a +2. So the idea is that I will have smoke here, and that smoke, which I'm going to put at the base level here, all the way at the base level. I also had a mortar that was shooting, or that same mortar. I'm just going to take off that thing because I don't think that counts. And for drift, I'm going to put smoke in the 2 other hexes. All right. So basically, if you want to, the basic way you want to look at it. Oh, I think I put a +2. I'm supposed to be +3. If you want to look at it this way, just look at the A24.4, which is heightened duration of smoke. It says conventional smoke is treated as a 2-level hindrance, so this will block basically the entirety, like this entire vertical portion of this building, of this hex. It says does not hinder LOS above that elevation. So if there's somebody at like level 3 or 4, the smoke wouldn't rise high enough to affect them. Smoke in a terrain, wreck blaze, which is in the case. White phosphorus is not what we're using. One important thing to note is that smoke does not block line of sight, it just hinders it. So that's definitely something to keep in mind. White dispersed smoke is removed at the start of the owning player's next prep fire phase. So, and his white smoke counters are then flipped over to the white dispersed side. So again, the idea is that the full power +3 is applied first, and then on the next turn you would turn it down to a +2, and then the turn after that the smoke is completely dissipated. So if you ever wonder why smoke is really good, it's because you're adding +3 to this entire hex. So any line of sight that draws into it, even if it's just the corner of it, whatever, it will add a +3 to their shot. Another bonus to anybody within that hex is that you're also adding an extra +1 to shoot out. So really, really crazy stuff to think about. Another thing to keep in mind is that moving around in a hex with smoke actually costs more. So again, these are all very important things to keep in mind when thinking about or placing smoke. Because for example, I have this half squad with an LMG. Normally, I probably would have maybe attempted to take a shot with him somewhere, but since these guys are now smoked, I don't have to worry about them at all this turn. They might still cause some problems if they get really lucky, that sort of thing, but for the most part, I can kind of ignore them and do my own thing. Which, speaking of, I'm probably going to go in like a north-south pattern here, just to make it a little bit easier. We'll probably also zoom in, just so it's not so crazy. So what do I want to do here? I've got some targets I can shoot at. This leader, especially because he was pinned, couldn't get away, he's going to be a really nice target for me. This one squad isn't that big a deal, but I also want to take him out. I've smoked these, so these aren't going to be an issue. And this right now is kind of just when I actually get around to them, that's when I'll worry about it. Alright, so I have this group here. Oh, I guess I should have probably checked if I can grab it. I'll just give them just have them auto grab it or whatever, like the next rally phase. So alright, first things first, I'm just going to do this because I know this is going to do should do quite a bit of damage. So I'm going to have these guys shoot adjacent to this leader. Now, I don't need to check line of sight, I know that they're connected. This building provides a +1, an extra +1, I should say, for being fortified, so it's a +4. However, because of adjacency, these guys are all doubled. So we're looking at 16 from these two alone, plus the machine gun is 26. So I'm just going to roll it right now. That's an amazing roll. All right. So they're on 26, which goes down to 24, again, because I'm not using the IIFT because 26, screw it. This is too complicated for me. So 24, I rolled a 3. So normally it'd be a 2 KIA, so that guy would be automatically dead. However, it's a +4. So we're going all the way down to the 7, which is a 3 morale check. So this guy is not going to do his morale check. He breaks. Because it's a 7, he goes up to 10. And this is only important because the Soviet ELR is 3. So that's also something to keep in mind. Something I'm trying to get more into the habit of calculating automatically. Because if he ELRs, we'll just do this as a test just to show you. But if he ELRs, he goes from an 8-1 to an 8-0, which is very important because modifiers in all cases are really, really good. Anyway, so the idea is that if he had failed, if he had rolled 11, he'd roll after modifications. He'd basically go down to a different, quality leader. Another thing to keep in mind is that even though these guys have prep fired, because I rolled a 1 on the colored dice, even a 2 would have been fine. I get to keep the rate of fire of this guy, so he's going to shoot this squad is going to shoot with the machine gun again. It's doubled again. However, I'm dropping a lot of my firepower because the other squads can't jump in. And it's going to be on the 8 firepower because it's just 10. So it goes down. We'll do another IFT. And sadly, that cowers. So even on a 6, 10 plus the 4, it's not going to do anything. However, that's still really good. And this is actually going to be... this is already pivotal. And the reason I say this is that if these guys don't break... they can advance into this building. And this guy can't stay where he is because he'd technically be adjacent. There are cellars in play, which I have not been using whatsoever, mainly just because the Russians don't have a lot of units to begin with. But even if I decided to shove him onto the second floor or toss him down into the cellar, he wouldn't be adjacent anymore, so that wouldn't be an issue. However, I would never be able to get that guy back because as soon as these Germans advance into here, getting out for that leader would be next to impossible. So he's gonna have to book it. But these guys have shot, so that's definitely a plus for the Russians because that's a lot of firepower that they're now considered to have used. I have a squad. Why do I have a... Why is this guy here? Why do I have this heavy weapons guy here? I think this guy's supposed to be over here. Because I wouldn't have left this HMG alone. So I'm just gonna... Oops. Alright. There we go. I don't know why this... Yeah, I think that was just an error. Anyways... you might see that happen a couple times because, boy howdy, there's a lot of counters right now. So if you see those things, I try to keep it at a minimum, but if you notice them, try to let me know just so I can correct it ASAP. So I'm just going to duck these guys behind so that I don't interfere. If I wanted to use this mortar, not that I really want to, but if I wanted to, the German units would actually have a modifier applied to them because of the fact that it's a captured weapon, and they're not quite as proficient with captured weapons as they would be with somebody else's. 50mm mortar. I guess technically I'm already shooting that way, unless that was for something else, but I don't think that was the case. Alright, well, since I'm already shooting at this guy, he's already got a -2. I might as well area target type. Alright, so, alright, so that's a critical hit. Critical hits, if you haven't been around for them, basically what they do is they double the firepower of whatever is shooting. It's an automatic hit, basically, and it doubles the firepower. So, under normal circumstances, this is a 50mm mortar, as signified by the 50 at the bottom left. A 50mm mortar would equal 6 firepower. Now, under normal circumstances, for a mortar, you have the firepower, so this would go down to a 2 instead of, because there's no 3. So go down to 2, but because you double it, it goes back down to 6. So this is a 6 firepower. The stone building adds a +3. Actually, it's a warehouse, or not a warehouse, but a factory. So this is a +3. This guy gets a +1 morale for being fanatical, and I now have to do the IFT, which is a 9, which is absolutely nothing. Yeah, that does not do anything, which sucks because that was a really. Actually, sorry. So another thing about critical hits and why they're so important, or why they're so good, I should say, is that they actually reverse the modifier. So if this building is supposed to give a +3, it's actually a -3 now. That kind of avoids having a situation where you get a critical hit, but yet it does nothing. It's not really a critical hit under that circumstance. So, anyways, it's -3, so this is 9, so it goes down to 6. So on 6, that's a 1 morale check. So morale check, that's a 1 morale check, so 7. And again, because he's fanatical, because this is a factory, if we go up here, we can see all Russian fanaticism. So each non-Russian personnel in a factory hex gains 1 morale. They're automatically fanatic. So this guy actually has a morale of 8. So he passes, but just barely. So I'm going to try and to hit again. That's an 8. 8 on 7 to 12 with the captured is 7. I think it's a +1 to this roll. 9 minus 2 for the modifier here. Yeah, he gets the hit, but just barely. IFT gonna be a 9 again. Nothing good out of a 9. And because the only reason I'm rolling it to hit again is because the rate of fire. Unless I'm mistaken, or captured, you decrease the rate of fire by 1. That's something to keep in mind as well. All right, so that is done. Let's prep fire this guy. This HMG, I can only realistically shoot at like these guys. I really don't like this 9 down 2 leader, but the +3 on, especially for this guy, it's gonna be too much. So I think what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna shoot at this this guy on the roof, especially since we can see the counter for roof, no TEM, so there's no modifier, so it's a straight 6 shot. So I'm gonna take that shot. It's gonna be a 9. That's gonna give me nothing. That guy's prepped. What else? Oh, you know what? Maybe that's the... Yeah, no, that is the mortar. Okay. I don't want to shoot with this guy because I kind of want to... There's a gap here. If we look, there's a gap here, and I kind of want this tank to maybe come in here and just muck about or do something. Apply pressure in some way anyways. So I'm not going to bother shooting with them yet. This guy, I could have him shoot. Or, no, he's on the ground level, so this doesn't matter. He won't be able to hit him. You know what? Those guys are going to stay still. There's no real shots from this guy either. They just don't have the angle. They could probably shoot at him, but honestly, I don't really feel that's worth it. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, and since this is 5 hexes away, that's halved, so not much of a point there. Now this guy, I definitely want him to shoot, because I hate this 9 down 1 leader because he's been causing me trouble. So I'm gonna take that shot. It's a +2, yeah, +2 shot with 12 firepower. So that's an 8. 8, no rate of fire on 12. 8 on 12, 1 MC. Perfect. So leader first, as always. Leader breaks. Because it was a 1 MC, yeah. So he breaks, which is great. Morale check, he's also going to break. Awesome. If this leader broke but this squad was fine, he'd have to take a task check, which could pin him. So it's another thing to keep in mind with units that haven't broken yet, or leaders that haven't broken yet. And it's kind of you kind of have to just like assume you know which ones have broken already, especially during long games like this, because, well, I mean, you're never going to remember a specific, like if you have 12 leaders, you're not supposed to remember every individual one. That's just like way too crazy. You can't make a shot, and I don't think nobody here can really make a shot, so I'm not going to bother. Oh, this guy can make a shot, that's right. I'm going to have him go down here. I'm just going to have the squad and the heavy machine gun along with the leader shoot, mainly because the squad at this range can hit, and because their max range is 12, so it's 9, so they're halved, and it just brings this machine gun up to 8 firepower because it's 2. So instead of 9, it goes down to 8, which is really good. There's no TEM on the roof guy, so -1 is going to be helpful. So let's take this shot. It's going to break or malfunction this gun and produce absolutely no result. I'm just going to move this guy back up here because he did not shoot. I got a nice stack here, but I think I've tried shooting from this area to here, and he just can't hit this. Like, it clips this corner of the building. So I'm not going to bother. I don't think I have any other shots. No, I think that's it. Alright, so let's get to... Oh, actually... I know this guy can make a shot, but because I didn't grab the other machine gun, I can't have both. This would just be a 4 firepower shot, which isn't really great. No, you know what? I'm just going to go to move. And if I don't move those guys, well, whatever, I guess. Alright, so movement phase. So I've got options. If this is an entire dead zone, which, apart from this machine gun, which is deadly, mind you, I'm not super crazy about going in there. It does represent a sort of problem, like just with how deadly it can be. But these are some dead zones for them because of the line of sight. So I'm not too worried about that. However, oh, alright, so first things first, I guess this guy, he's not broken, but he's not on the second floor. I should probably brought this guy to the second floor. Alright, so that's a problem, that's a issue on my end with the Soviets. This guy, I should have probably brought him on the second floor. Reason is that the only reason not to go on the second floor is just not be shot. But if I was on the second floor, this anti-tank rifle would be able to shoot at this tank, this vehicle, not here yet. But if this vehicle decided to move out, you could shoot at them, that sort of thing. So something to keep in mind with line of sights. Yeah, I'm just gonna have this guy go. He's already in motion, so I don't need to do anything with regards to starting the tank. So I am going to have him. How do I want to do this? Because I know the Russians are bringing tanks up, so I don't want to mess with them right away. This is going to kill line of sight, which is good. Alright, so this tank is going to go here for 1. The angle as we go here for 2, 3, 4. And then 5, oops. 5. Come on, 5, 6. And then I'm going to have him. Do I want to go? That's 6. I don't really want to risk like a street fight or something like that. Also, the only reason why, like, this is debris. If this was rubble, you could consider this street fight possibility, which is like really bad for tanks because tanks aren't really good in close combat. Kind of have to worry about this tank as well, but I don't think he'll be able to get here quick enough. You know what? I'm gonna do in bypass for 7, and because of his location, I'm gonna so 7, 8, 9, 10 to delay. Actually, 11. Delay for 11, and then I'm gonna have him just shoot straight. So he's in bypass, so about here, and he's looking straight into this building. I'm gonna have him shoot. Just whatever. Why not? So first off, to hit, we'll calculate all the rest as we look at the chart. So I'm shooting an infantry with this howitzer. So it's normally an 8. I've stopped, so I do have some modifiers here, which aren't going to help me out too much. For example, bound and fire, because I'm shooting in the move phase. But did have LOS on this guy for more than 3, which is the only reason why you really want to delay sometimes, is just so you get more LOS on this guy. And the implication, as far as I know it, I could be wrong, but the implication is that if it's 2 or less, then it's basically case B plus this plus. So case B, this guy is just 2. So it's automatically, there's a 2 to my 10, so it's 12. Because there's no turret, there's also a +3. So we're looking at 5, so it's already pretty crazy. At this point, I'm not really getting anything. I should probably also mention that this is going to be a high explosive and not AP or smoke, because I don't want to shoot those right now. So yeah, probably not gonna. It's not gonna give me anything. But just in to keep in mind, again, bounding fire or first fire, the limited aim is 2 or below. 2.5 to 3 is for restricted aim. Anything above 3 movement points, that's where it's just bounding fire. So it's something to keep in mind. Also, if you're in motion, that's also another crazy thing to keep in mind. Yeah, so I think that's it. Normally, you'd also add the TEM, so that would be a +3, and then you'd also add point blank range. So because there's just a hex and not 2 hexes, it's just 1 hex away, so it'd be a -2 and so on. Anyways, all to say that I get to put an acquisition. So just put a blue one here. Oops. Put a blue one. We'll call it Stug B1 or bypass. There. As long as I know which one it is, that's all I need. So this guy was at 11, 12. I think it was 11. So he's at 12 move. I kind of don't want to risk anything, so I'm just going to delay his 12 and his 13, and then I'm going to put him in motion on his 14th. Oops. There. And the only reason I'm putting him in motion is, one, I'm going to want to reverse. The only reason I'm even having this guy in bypass is because this guy will not be able to run through the tank. Not to my knowledge anyways. So he's kind of stuck there, and these guys are probably both goners at this point. Yeah, and eventually I'm going to want to reverse this guy back into the street to then worry about these 2 tanks. So that's why I'm putting them in motion. Next up, got a bunch of guys here. You know what? I'm just going to have these guys run into this building as an assault move, because I don't want them... They're not going to get shot, but I'll just assault move them anyways. That should be fine. I got 4 movement points, which is good for both of these. So what I'm going to do for these 2 squads... That's 2, that'd be 5, 6, probably 8. I'm just calculating how much attack power I will have in the advanced fire phase, because I'm going to have this guy with the DC go up. Now, I don't think I'll use the DCs. There's not much of a point. Like, I don't need to blow into any walls or anything. But I do want to spend at least 2 to get here, and he's carrying it anyway, so whatever. Now, this guy, I could have him shoot. The question really, because he's basically on a timer, if he doesn't get out of here in his next move, he's probably dead. The biggest question is, do I want to shoot at this second line squad, or do I want to shoot at the elite? I have a higher chance of breaking or killing this guy just for the fact that he's a 237, 7 lower morale than 8, obviously. But attacking this guy and potentially doing something will obviously be better in the long run, because the less awesome or elite squads you have, the worse it's going to be, as the campaign drags on. But I don't know. I think I'm just going to take the opportunity and shoot at this guy, just because I prefer the lower morale. So It was an assault move. It's not open ground, so it's just a -1. It is a 2 firepower doubled for being adjacent, so 4. And there is a +1 for the debris, so technically this is a 5-on-4. And if we look at our chart, 5-on-4 is a 1MC. So 1MC, morale check, breaks. So this guy gets first fire. And yeah, maybe I'll have like these guys advance or do something and then just try to murder that tank or something. I don't know. Anyways, so that's that. And because I really want to push into here, I'm just gonna have this guy go in here too. Now, under certain circumstances, there might have been some residual fire left behind. But that's not the case here, just because of the to leave residual fire, which is these green things. If I was shooting at 4, you'd leave 2, but that gets decreased per level of like TEM that you go against. So I think ultimately that might be a 1. I'm not sure. I'm actually curious because it doesn't seem like all that much. But even 1 firepower is actually like really, it's a lot, all things considered. That a lot of people don't. I feel like, especially newbies, don't take advantage of residual firepower. When like really that helps just like lock down areas that you might be spending an inordinate amount of units to try and shoot at or whatever. So residual firepower. So the way it works is A8.2 residual firepower. When a unit is attacked by defensive first fire, which is the case here, as indicated by the counter, subsequent first fire or final protective fire, basically it's going to be defensive fire first, but whatever. The target location in which the attack is resolved, even if in bypass, so here it's in that hex with the debris, is marked with a residual firepower counter. Actually, that's less debris and rubble. I think that's... Nah, that's debris. Anyways, is marked with a residual firepower counter equal to half, up to a maximum of 12 after adjustment, of the highest IFT firepower column used for that attack. So in this case, it's just 4, so it goes down to 2. Skip a thing because it's for vehicles. Thereafter, any unit entering or expending movement factors or movement points in that same location in the same movement phase is attacked on the IFT with the firepower represented by that residual firepower counter. A new IFT dice roll, and any applicable first fire movement open ground or first fire non-assault movement DRM. A unit expending to leave the location does not suffer residual firepower. So another thing to keep in mind is should be slightly below. Where is it that says it's reduced? So effective DRM, so A8.26. So it says the amount of residual firepower left by any attack is reduced by 1 IFT column for each positive DRM caused solely by conditions outside. So CX, bundle up, stun, leadership modifier, hex side, TM of the target location, which modified the 2-hit or IFT dice roll, not including LV and height advantage, which is something that we're not really going to see at this time. So basically, what it's trying to say is that that actually would be a 1 firepower, I believe, because it's only this debris only reduces by 1, so there'd be a 1 firepower. So basically, what happens now is that because my guys ran in there, there's obviously a non-assault movement for moving more than 1 hex, but it's not open ground, so there's just a -1. So what we do is we now roll again on the IFT, and as a 1 firepower attack, we now add a -1 for the non-assault movement. Now, sadly, in this case, or at least sadly for the Russians anyways, it's just a -1, so it's 6. 6 on 1 is still nothing, so this guy makes it alive. However, this guy now wants to shoot again to try and at least break another unit. Because he's already shot once, he's halved his firepower. and doubled for being adjacent. So it's just a 2 firepower shot. But sometimes even a 2 can be really good. For example, this is going to be a +1 for the TM, but a -1 for the non-assault movement, which brings it exactly to its same 7 that we've seen before, or that we're seeing right now, although it does not give us anything, sadly, once again. So he will now be marked with a final fire. And I could try to shoot again, but I'm not gonna bother. Alright. Oh, another thing I can do, and this is another reason why choosing certain units to move first is really important. So, for example, this unit, I have a stack here with 2 units, one with an LMG. Now, because he's shot before and twice, it means that if I bother to move this guy south, any further attack from this guy, one, will incur a morale check automatically on him, which is powerful. And the other issue is that it will be at a diminished firepower. So I don't have to worry too much about the effects he can bring to me, more or less just if, like, how desperate it will possibly be, and if I get unlucky. One thing to keep in mind, though, is that there is indeed still the penalties for non-assault movement and open ground if I happen to move south, so it's something to keep in mind. That being said, do I want to risk it? Russians are kind of getting some bad rolls right now. See, this is a tough choice. So what I'm gonna do I guess that's another thing too. So technically this guy doesn't first fire anymore, so he wouldn't get the non-assault movement, I guess. I should have mentioned that, or I usually forget it, just because, like, you don't always go through. Generally speaking, people will just first fire. They won't necessarily get. They won't necessarily go through all the other shots, unless I am a perfect liar. But yeah, so if you're curious, it's A4.6 movement modifiers, and just states infantry has moved that has moved during their movement phase without using assault or hazardous movement is subject to -1 to all defensive first fire attacks. So because this would be a defensive final fire or final protective fire, it wouldn't count for those modifiers. So. All right, so basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to have this LMG guy go first. He's going to assault move here. And because that's a juicy target, and I kind of like being able to take out guys holding support weapons, I'm going to have this firepower guy shoot again. Now, you can't keep having, once you have the firepower, at least for final protective fire, you don't have it again. So you don't quarter it, basically. So so he's still at 2 firepower. He's going to shoot, and that's a 5 on 2, which isn't so bad. It's a normal morale check. Let's see if that yields any results. No. Another thing to keep in mind is that on a final protective fire, which is what this guy just did, the IFT roll counts as the morale check roll for the unit. So had this guy rolled even one worse, he would have pinned himself, or he could have broken himself. And since that's not the case, he's going to stay like that, and I'm going to have this guy move here. At this point, like, because he's basically surrounded or going to get surrounded, I'm just going to take another shot. That's 6, so he's going to pin himself, but that is also a pin task check on this guy, on that non-support weapon squad. So we're going to task check him. He's going to get pinned, which actually really sucks because I wanted him to go around and get into here. Because that would have been 1, 2, 3, 4 to get in here. And then he's surrounding these guys. So then this squad is super dead versus just regular dead at the moment. And this guy also pins as a result. Oops. I should keep the final protective fire. Now, in the case of subsequent fires, I know I said you don't have, again, so you don't quarter. Pin is an additional modifier. It's not the same subsequent shot thing. So that will now quarter it. So his firepower is now 1 against adjacent units, which is terrible. Anything else, and it's a 0. Although, for brevity, I guess, and correctness of the rules, he wouldn't be able to shoot further than 1 hex anyways. Now, what else do I want to do? Considering how well I'm doing south, and I mean, there's no real Russian presence down south, I don't feel like I'm going to need to dump these 2 stacks more to the south. Even if it could help me in the long run or a short run to like grab these. They're nice and all, but I kind of want to push more towards the assembly hall because I want to get a good foothold on this foundry hall as well as the upper foundry hall. If I can get these 2 spots, I should be in a very decent position to assault the 4th hall, assembly hall, and then eventually maybe get into hall 3 and so on and so forth. So these 2 stacks, I'm going to have them move east. And to keep in mind, these walls are an extra cost of movement. So this stack, I'm just going to have this stack go over into the building of F14. So first things first, these guys will move here for 2 points, or 2 movement points. I don't think there's any Russians that can shoot at them. Like, I'm pretty sure this guy's line of sight is crap over here, so I shouldn't worry about that. And then here is all blind hexes. He's not on the 2nd floor, so he can't see. He can't see. So that's 2 to get here, 3 to get where they're at, and 5 to get into this building. I think that's a good spot for now. And if I really want to, I'll just advance them onto the 2nd floor at a later time. These are 2 squads, and I'm just going to have them go... I can get here. 2, 3... 2, 4. You know what? I'm going to CX these guys. Basically what CX does is it gives them an extra 2 movement points, but it does affect them in their subsequent shots, as well as if they happen to get into melee, that sort of stuff. So definitely something to keep in mind if and when you should CX, and how you want to CX. So they're going to CX, get 6 movement points, so 2 to get into this building, another 2 for 4 to get out, and then I'm going to have them come here for 5. And the idea will be to get them to go into these debris hexes, and then further goal is going to be here. These guys are obviously going to help in getting this, but these guys will eventually split up, so they'll be nice. Another thing too that's going to be good and why I'm moving this guy down south a little bit more is because that ATR, while it's not like a huge bonus to shoot at other infantry, that's going to be nice for tanks if something ever happens. And speaking of, let's start this guy up. 14, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Rotate them for 9. You know, I like where he's at. And then he's going to stop and delay. Now, the reason I'm doing this is because this tank can shoot down 2, think of 2 alleys. So you can shoot down south, which is going to be really good. Because if a Russian tank decides that it doesn't want to go up the road, it can go... obviously, tanks can go over walls, or through walls, I should say. But another bonus of having this guy here is that you can see down this road. So if the Russians try to do anything, try to be sneaky, the only way they'll really be able to get any tanks further than, I'd say, like here and here, is by defeating this guy head on. And he's got 6 armor at the front, so I'm feeling pretty good about this guy, about this tank placement, anyways. I learned that this was a super big bummer. Armored cars can't go through walls; they can't go over them, which I thought was like really weird. But if you look in the terrain chart, it just states it as a not applicable. So if you go into the terrain chart and then it's walls. B9 specifically, it just states armored car is not available. So you can't go through a wall with an armored car, which sucks. And you can't breach a wall with demolition charges, which is what I was going to attempt to do. So, in both cases, sadly, this armored car just won't have the opportunity to get into this area. So, kind of have to figure something else to do with that armored car. Technically, I could try to have somebody clear debris, like clear these areas, or at least like hex D15, and by doing so, then I could move south. But I think for now he's kind of just stuck, and I gotta live with it. Alternatively, I was gonna try and get this guy to go around, but it's not gonna work, and there's just no space to bypass. So I don't think there's anything I can do for that armored car specifically, which again sucks because I also brought this other armored car, and this other armored car has my leader, which is he's really good, but it also means I'm kind of wasting that leader's presence by not being able to do anything for him. I would have wanted to come into here to at least put pressure, but again, the nature of line of sight, they wouldn't be able to really shoot anywhere, and it's just not that great. So instead, I'm gonna start this guy. I'm not gonna do too much with them, but I will have them drive back. So that was what, 2? So started for 1. Turning is in open ground. I think it's 4, 3. So that's 7, 10, 13, so 11 to get on the road, and then he's bundled up, so I'm not going to bother doing anything else. I'm not going to unbutton him. So 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, and I'm just going to have him stay here, and he's going to delay. These tanks, or these armored cars, I'm not even going to bother with, not at the moment anyway. This tank, what am I allowed to do with this tank? Oh, right. So I'm gonna, again, this guy, I'm also gonna have him move. And since I can't have him go anywhere, not realistically anyways, I'm just gonna rotate him and get him out of here. So start for 1, rotate 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 10, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. Stop, and then delay. So these guys are all going to convene over there. If I had line of sight, I'd smoke this guy, but I can't, which sucks. I'm gonna have this guy go around, or go through anyway, so he's gonna start for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. What's that leave me with? 11, 12 and 13. Alright. So that's 13 to get here. Oh, actually, I don't think... There. Because I forgot the wall adds 1. So obviously if I'm crossing this wall, I need to add a 1 for the tank. So basically it just ends like 1 further, which isn't so bad. It might be a problem if this guy tries to do anything, but I think these guys being here is going to be fine, especially next turn when I advance them. So, what could I do? This guy could probably shoot. It's a 2, 3, 8. Do I really care all that much? The answer is I should, but I don't really. That's a 6 firepower with the down 2, which is huge. This position is really tough. I don't know if I can, like, maybe if I move back here, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, I guess. You know what? Why not? This stack in its entirety is going to assault move there. Oh, this should also this also needs to go away. The reason because they're broken. A broken unit can't retain an acquisition. They just drop it immediately. Hold on, that was a bad move. Well, I've already made it, so whatever. But this was a bad move because I can't shoot from here to there. Because this is like the only way to like get a good shot, but it's blocked. So I can't actually make a shot that way. Damn it. This is why like line of sight and stuff is really important, guys. Stuff to like figure out beforehand. This squad is gonna move down for 2, and then he's gonna go into. He's gonna go under this trench for 3. This group is going to move here for 1, 2, and then 3, 4 to get in the building. Now, technically, I could keep moving, but I'm going to overstack here, and it's not a good idea. What else? This is tricky, because moving in certain areas can get me shot by these guys. I guess technically it's only like 4 firepower at the leader and whatever, but it's still kind of dangerous. Not really something I want to subject myself to if I don't have to. Oh, actually, you know what? That might be a really good idea. Okay, so here's something I can do. Maybe these guys will be able to spoil it. I don't know. Alright, well, I'm going to try a couple things, and we'll see if this just works. So, first and foremost, these guys have already moved, whatever. They're not overstacked, though, so that's not a big deal. I'm going to have this guy move here for 1. Again, like, I don't think I can... Because these... I guess they're still technically adjacent, so they should be able to fire group. But if I really wanted to fire group, I would have probably shot him first. Or like before, when that entire squad went into the building. So since that's not the case, I don't really think I'm going to bother, especially not into his +3. So instead, I'm going to have this guy go here. So that's 3 movement points total. But I think these guys are going to shoot. Because under all circumstances, I think these guys can still see him. Because this debris isn't 2 levels. And, I mean... Yeah, and yeah, it shouldn't be an issue. That shouldn't be an issue because this debris doesn't create a blind hex, so being immediately behind it isn't that big a deal. But that is 8 firepower total, I think. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, so that's 8 firepower. The leader's just going to direct it just so in case of a cower, but that's still a -2 for non-assault movement and open ground, which that is technically yes. So that is a 5 on 8, which is a 2 morale check, which is ouch. That's not gonna be good. Yeah, that guy breaks. Kinda to be expected, to be honest. But on the good side, that's just a half squad, so it's not so big a deal. This guy can't shoot because of this corner, which is gonna prevent line of sight, and it opens me up to the availability of doing a couple other things. So, yeah, no, actually, I think that's gonna block it, or maybe not. These guys aren't at second level, so that's perfect. All right, so this guy is just gonna move up, and I don't think anybody can shoot at him. And I don't want to test out with this group because as soon as you trace line of fire, that's supposed to count as a shot. Like that's basically declaration of intent, and it's just not cool or fair to say like, oh, I'll just check line of sight, and if I can't make a shot, I just won't shoot. If you can't make the shot, you don't make the shot. So that's gonna be 1, 2. I still don't think this guy has a shot. Maybe, but I'm not gonna risk it. So that's 2, and then 4 to get in there. I guess getting in here is just a +3, but there's a -1 for non-assault movement. I could get 8 firepower on him, or 4. Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna take a shot at these guys. All right, that was not a good shot. So that's still no, that's not gonna do anything. So that wasn't cool. And now that I know that these guys are shot, they haven't done anything. And I don't want to shoot this machine gun because, one, that leader's going to be a really good modifier, and if I can have him shoot at other targets of opportunity, I think I'd rather just do that. Yeah, so that's going to happen. I've got 2 MMGs, or sorry, and then he's going to finish in there. Probably have him shoot, but I don't think that's worth it. I'm gonna transfer. Yeah, this guy's gonna non-assault move there. And the only reason I'm really gonna do this is because, to put it plainly, I want him to be able to shoot at these 2 groups. And if I can get him on like the 2nd floor or whatever, it's just gonna be an easier time at shooting these 2 groups. This guy has no real problem with moving, so do I want him up or do I want him? You know what? I'm just gonna assault move him upstairs. And obviously properly mark your counters, guys. Now this is a big issue. This 9 down 2 leader is very strong, and I don't want to have to face him in any way, shape, or form. But to really be able to like knock them out of their position, I obviously have to go towards them. And the problem is that by going to any of these 2 hexes right now, I'm basically going to take a 12 down 3 shot, which means it's a 12 firepower without any modifiers on either of these 2 hexes, which is really bad. So I'm just going to assault move this guy. I think there might be a blind hex. I still don't think he should shoot. So I'm just going to assault move this guy as well. This guy can't shoot because of this the debris blocking this edge. Yeah, I think that's going to be it for that. And up here, I like the idea of moving these guys out. The problem is I don't really have a place to move them to. Oh, Support weapon recovery. This is going to be important because I think it might have to do in the. I think you can do it in the movement phase, not rally phase. Recovery. Infantry may also recover an unpossessed support weapon gun during their move phase on a final DR6, only one dice roll, after an expenditure of 1 extra movement factor if they attempted to, even if they attempted recovery in the rally phase. Alright, so that's a 4.44, I think. So basically I can spend a movement factor and recover this, which I mean I'm going to do, and that actually causes a dilemma because now this weighs too much and I can't have this guy move. So I guess I'll just, sorry, I have to dice roll. All right, so he's fine. He picks this gun up. I don't have anything else I really want to do. I could probably have this guy shoot, because technically that's expenditure of a movement point. Do I really want to, is the question. No, I don't think I want to. Especially when there's this guy around and a couple other things. Yeah, no, he's gonna stay there. This leader, I guess I'll keep. Do I have any broken units anywhere? Oh, this guy. This leader's gonna hightail it out this way. So 2, 3, 4, 5. And his only goal is basically to try and revive these guys. Because I can't self-rally them during the Russian turn, and it doesn't really make any sense to break my leader or whatever just to get him to run over here. And then have to try and rally him. Yeah. What else? I'm going to have this squad move up. This has kind of been the pain in the ass like this entire time because 2, 4. I'm just going to move there. Mainly because they keep, I keep having guys break in this area. It's crazy. So those guys moved. Those guys have moved. This guy still has options. Do I want to attempt a move like that? No, you know what? I'm just gonna keep him there. Why not? And this guy, I should be able to dash. So, dash is a special move that can only be done if it's going across a road. Thankfully, this guy is in 1 hex. There's a road right here, and then the next hex. So the idea is that I think he'd actually have the CX though. A 4.63, there's dashes. The idea is that you move from one location into a open ground location back into a non-open ground location, that you're going across a road. So generally speaking, you'll be in open ground or whatever, and then across the road and then back into open ground. Just the way that the roads and examples are shown, but it is possible to go from non-open ground to road to non-open ground. Yeah, I might have to actually CX. Because the reason why I say that is that it takes 2 movement factors to get to, or movement points to get here, into where the tank is because of the wall, and then it takes 3 to get into this building because of the wall. So it's 5. I can't actually get in there without CXing. So I think that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to CX these guys, move here. This guy's going to take a shot. Now, the important thing about dash and why dash is very strong is that it causes all shots against them except one case, but we're not seeing it here, as area fire, which for the purposes of infantry just means it halves the firepower. So this guy's going to shoot, and it's going to be at 2 firepower, which isn't so bad with that. And because it's a dash, there's still the non-assault movement and open ground shots. So that's a -2, so it's just a 4 on 2, which is a 1 morale check, which is, again, pretty good, all things considered. Morale check is going to break him. And he's still CX'd. So this is the sort of thing that generally happens, for me anyways. So that guy's first fired, and I think that's going to be it for my moves. I don't think there's anybody else I want to move or can move. So that's going to be it for that. So defensive fire. And why this is going to be very strong is that, sorry, really itchy. Ow, ow, ow. Because of the way he's positioned, he's actually now able to like shoot again. He's not, well, I might as well, but this is going to be halved firepower, so it's just a straight, or sorry, I guess technically that's not actually open ground. I don't know why I didn't calculate it. So the tank actually applies a modifier. I don't know if that that acts as a don't know if that acts as a elimination of open ground. The reason I say this is that D9.4 says AFV rec, if it's a regular or a rec, LOS hindrance. So there's a +1 hindrance to same level LOS if it goes through. Oh, it's not just into or out of, it's through. Okay, so that doesn't count then. Damn. Because under normal circumstances, if this guy was, say, like 1 hex further, it'd be through, which means it'd be +1. Alright. Well, since that's not the case, the guy's still broken. So still, I'm going to take another shot. It's going to be 2 firepower, just a straight 2. And that is not going to work. So it's final fired. I could try to shoot with this guy. But the biggest issue with this is that, again, there's the modifiers, and that MMG is a breakdown number of 11, and I really don't want to risk that. Another issue that comes into play is that if we look at the map itself, there's limiting positions that these guys can shoot, just because these hexes, N5, M6, and L5, are both level 2, so they're going to block line of sight to a lot of stuff. If it was shooting up here, I might be able to take a shot here. It's not going to be good, but I might as well. What's the range on this? 6? Alright, well, I might as well take that shot. It's a 4 firepower. I'm not going to shoot with the machine gun because you never know. 7 on 8, because there's a +1 for debris. So 8 on 4, I think. Yeah, it's a miss. Just barely. That's a miss. This guy can't shoot anywhere. It's a little depressing. But really, for the Germans, I'd take it any day. This guy's going to shoot here. It's just a 4. It's just a 4 firepower, but, you know, +3, no minuses. Nope, that's a miss. Boy howdy, I don't think there's anything else. He can't shoot. Or at least, you know, 1 firepower is not going to do anything. I think that might be it. Oh, I want to shoot with this machine gun, of course. I guess I'll just shoot at over here again. If I do that, though, I don't... Well, I guess I've already lined it, but I just don't have the... whatever. So it's a 6 firepower with the down 2 being shot by this squad, so FT. Yeah, that's not gonna... It's a +1, 11. Yeah, it's not gonna do it. And no rate of fire either, which really sucks. That's pretty bad. He can't shoot at anybody. He can't shoot at anybody. Obviously not. Can he shoot? No. Alright, that's it for defensive fire. Advancing fire. What shots do I have with the Germans? I'm going to advancing fire with this tank because I forgot to shoot with them in the regular shots. So, got to keep in mind fire and advancing fire hex without entering any hex in the turn. So there's a +2 inherently. He's bundled up, so there's another +1. There's a TEM of +3 for the factory. It's what, +6. So, or sorry, it wasn't factory, but it's still a stone structure. So let's just try it. That's a 11 down 2 for the acquisition that's already there, and on top of that, it's close range. So that's another -3. So that's 8. And I think that just gets it. It should, yeah, that just gets it. So the Panzer is shooting a high explosive 50 L gun. Basically, we're just trying to find the firepower equivalent. So in this case, it's 6. So 6 firepower. It's gonna be 6 on 6, which is a 1 morale check. And you might be wondering, why is it that I didn't apply the TEM to the IFT? And that's because I applied the TEM, or terrain effect modifier, to the to hit. And the reason is that you can only use the TEM for one or the other. You can't use it for both. The idea is just that it's like way too strong if you could use it for both. So it's just not cool. Where did I see it? It would be I remember I saw this somewhere. Right, okay, so case Q, TEM. TEM applicable to the target must be added as a DRM to the 2-hit dice roll of a shot taken on a vehicle or infantry target type. I guess I must have read it somewhere that there was an option. Alright, here's where it explains. There's a footnote. And ASL is really good about its footnotes. So there's a footnote number 12, which I believe is at the end of the C chapter. Anyways, it says 6.8 TEM. Players should realize that the use of the TEM to alter the 2-hit dice roll rather than the infantry fire table dice roll does not mean that a stone building is harder to hit than a wooden building. It does mean that a shell must be placed closer to unarmored targets within that building to have an effect on that target than would be true for a less formidable structure. Basically, it basically says it, everything there. There's going to be a little bit more defenses on such a location. Anyways, that is a 1 MC, so you apply your TMs on the 2-hit and not the IFT. I think I read it somewhere, but now it's just like bugging me. So I'll probably have to look that up at a later date. But anyways, that's a 1MC. So let's do our 1MC. That is a 6. So he is completely fine on that roll. On that 6. So 1MC. The to hit was a 3. So unfortunately, I don't have rate of fire, which is only a 2 on that. And the acquisition can't go lower than -2. So that's not going to matter. I will put a counter on him. Advanced fire. There we go. Are there any other things I wish to have advanced fire? Don't really care to advance fire those guys. You know what? I'm going to advance fire these guys onto this stack. Now, it might someone actually, you know what? I also get to take off all the defensive fire because that doesn't need to be on here anymore. It might seem a little curious as to pick this group over this one. However, the only reason why I really want to do this is because the while there is a construct squad and a first line, and both of these aren't like very good, and I could probably break them easily. One's already broken, so I want to apply a DM on them, and the other is actually not that great, so I can break them. A bonus, obviously, would be to also break this squad leader as well. So this is going to be halved. So this 4 firepower is going to be 2 for advanced fire. This 5 has a notification that says it is assault fire. And I'm just going to look this up again. I checked it last time and I bungled the 2. So this time around, it is the first number, as you can see, the first number being underlined, the 5, means that there's assault fire. So assault fire, basically what that means is that in the advancing fire, after you do your modifications to determine how much firepower it is, you add a +1, and then you round your fractions up, which is super strong. So for a 5-4-8, that basically means that this 5 is down to a 2.5 for being halved. There's a +1 to 3.5, and then you round up to 4. So this guy still shoots at 4 firepower, this guy shoots at 2 for 6, and it's going to be +3 for the building. So that is not going to give me any result. However, a shot like that will still apply a DM marker to that broken squad, which is really good because it's going to be really tough. Unless you get your snake eyes there, you can't actually bring that guy back into action. What else? I don't think I have any other shots. Oh, these guys. I got at least 2 squads here. These guys are going to shoot into here. It's just going to be the 2 squads plus the. I'm not even going to bother with the HMG and the leader as well. The leader's going to direct that. So it's just a flat 4 firepower, which is going to miss, sadly. Yep, that is going to miss. The squad here, the 5-4-8, is going to shoot at... I'm going to have them just shoot at the broken guys because I really want to kill that leader. Now, I know I said that this was 4 over here, but that's not because... But that's because they weren't adjacent. In this case, because he's adjacent, he's right next to his target, this guy goes up to 10 and then down to 5 because it's doubled and then halved for advanced fire. Then you add the +1 and you round up your fractions. Well, it means this guy goes up to 6. So you can kind of see how a 5 firepower with assault fire it changes. And it also incentivizes you to get really close with your elite squads rather than have them hang back, because their assault fire is going to come into handy every time you move them. So it's a 6 firepower up 2 for the wood building, which also is not going to give me anything. This group is going to shoot. So one guy is pinned, so that's just going to give me a 1, so I'm not even going to shoot with this guy. Or he's halved, pinned, halved again, but it is going to be 2. Alright, I'll shoot at him. So this entire stack minus the LMG, that's not going to shoot. It's going to be 6 firepower onto this guy. So with the +3, that's not going to give anything. Those guys have advanced fired, and I think that's going to be it. I don't think there's any other shots I can really make, or that I really want to make. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Technically shoot at that guy. Are there any broken? Oh, actually, damn it, that's going to be 2nd level, so I can't shoot there. Can I shoot? Yeah, so, okay, so this group is going to shoot here. It's a range of 5, so I've got both those squads can shoot. That'll be 4 firepower, -1 for the leader, but +3 for this building. Oh man! So my only goal was just to DM this guy again to make it really hard to rally. I wasn't expecting to get snake eyes, so that's actually really good. So that actually goes down. Another thing to keep in mind is that you can actually go all the way down to 0. Technically, you can go lower than 0, but it doesn't ever give you any extra bonuses. So this is a 2. There's a +3 for the stone structure, so that's 5. But down 1 for the leader, back down to a 4. So it's a 4 firepower, 4. So it's a 1 morale check for that entire stack. And considering that it's just assault fire or advancing fire, it's not that great anyways. That's actually really good. So that was 1 MC. Yeah, 1 MC. Alright, so 1 MC, leader first, squad, then broken squad. So leader first, squad, broken squad. So 1 morale check means this leader breaks, this squad breaks, and this squad 6, 7 is going to be fine. And again, had this squad survived, he would have gone into an immediate task check for the leader breaking. All right. I think that's it for that. All right, so route phase. So route phase, now I get to like run a bunch of guys away. This leader is gonna get the hell out of dodge. He's gonna run here. I don't really feel like having him stay there. So he's gonna run into here. Broken units have a movement of 8. Man, the thing that sucks about like I know that they have 8, but like I state that and then I go like, oh, do they really have 8, or like am I thinking of something else? Routing, and yep, forcing to surrender or elimination. And then the worst is I'm gonna go like, oh right, no, they have 6. Why do I think that they have more movement? Come on. Right, all broken units have 6. I don't know why I thought 8. I was thinking of something else. So, all broken units, including conscripts other than wounded SMC, single man counters, have movement of 6. So, this guy would have cost 2 to get in here, cost another 2 to get into this factory, and I might as well, thinking in the future here, I'm going to have him go here so I can get with this broken squad, which I will be able to... Oh, actually, you know what? I can't do that because of the smoke. That's what I was initially calculating. So the smoke, because it adds movement, I can't actually get there. I guess theoretically I could get... See, I could attempt to get this guy in the fortified building to go here into N6, but the problem is that with this guy on the upper level, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, I guess that'd be fine, whatever. Because the HMG broke. Well, whatever, next time. So he's gonna, leader ends up there. Oh, and technically I need to do attack first, but whatever. So he's gonna route, he can actually route this way. I'm gonna have him route here for 1, 3, and then he can't see anybody else. So yeah, he's gonna route for 5 down here. And I hate when this happens. Fastball has this weird thing about selections sometimes. Alright, so that guy's done. He's broken, but he doesn't need to route, and I don't want to move him. He's already moved. He's gonna just come back here into with the leader. And this guy's gonna do the same thing, where he's gonna route... Oops. Come on. There. Oops. Alright, he's gonna route 1 back. Can't get shot from anybody. Nobody has line of sight, and he's gonna move back here into that building. I should also take off prep fire because it doesn't need to be there anymore. Alright, so that's that. Residual fire can take off. Residual. This guy, now that it's, I think that's all the German rally or routes. So again, this one can't route. I routed the leader. This guy, I don't feel like I want to move him. I'm going to try and rally him where he is. If that doesn't work, then I'll try to just like go back into here. Actually, this counts as factory. So you know what? I'm going to actually... but it's non-broken, right? Each no, actually, it is just... It's just non-prisoner. Alright, so, what I'm going to do... What you can do with leaders, and this is kind of weird... I always forget that this is an actual thing. So a leader can actually voluntarily route with a with a broken unit. Excuse me, needed some liquids there. So the specific case is A10.711, voluntary route. It says a non-berserk, non-pinned leader already stacked with a broken unit before it routes may elect to route with the broken unit even though he's not broken. If he does so, the leader shares the broken unit's vulnerability to interdiction, and although does not have to take any interdiction NMC himself, he is eliminated if the broken unit he is stacked with on top of fails an interdiction MC. He must remain with the broken unit throughout the route phase, but is not considered broken and may add his leadership DRM to his interdiction NMC. The leader, if already in possession of a support weapon, may portage it, but cannot improve the broken unit's portage capacity. So, again, basically what this means is that my leader can route with this guy and route away. I kind of want to route just here because it's going to get him out of this guy's shots, and they're now fanatics, so they get a +1, which actually reminds me, if that guy was fanatical, you know what? I'm just gonna start doing this stupid thing because this is really bugging me. Where is infantry? Fanatic. Because this is really bugging me, and I keep forgetting this. Because I think I actually did it again where these guys might not have broken if they were fanatical. Okay, leader would have broken. He would have been pinned, and the... Okay, so I'm just going to do this because or else it's not fair, really. This guy would have been pinned. And then he would take a task check, but honestly, the task check just makes you go pinned anyway, so he's... Yeah. Okay, so that's... I'm trying to make this fair. Because, yeah, I don't want the Russians to... get their ass beat too hard. That's just not interesting. Alright, and then Fanatic as well. Alright, that should be good. I'm gonna Fanatic these guys as well. Alright, perfect. So they routed. This guy I could route, but there's not really anywhere to go. Not gonna worry about it. I think that's it. This last group can't route anywhere. So the idea is that you can't route to an area and then still be adjacent to an enemy unit, an armed enemy unit anyways. And it's not even a matter about like LOS or, oh, you'd be behind the tank and the tank can't turn around fast enough to shoot you or whatever. No, it's if you happen to be, to continuously be adjacent on any of your moves to an enemy unit, you will just immediately die. So I'm just gonna take these guys off because I know they're dead. But for the purposes, for like, let's just check, do due diligence. So if we go up north, we're adjacent to these two and tank. If we can't move here because he's going into a tank, you can't go here because he's next to two tanks. Can't attempt to go across here because he'd have to go through a tank, which is impossible for him. And he can't go to B-17 because there are two units that would be adjacent, and obviously he can't go into the Sternkoi's hex. So for all intents and purposes, those guys are dead. That is a actually kind of devastating blow, and it was starting to look really good for those two guys, but not so anymore. We're looking at a 0.5 fire, 1 CVP for the half squad. So that's Militia Koi B as well. So we're just going to bump this guy up to a full squad. Delete this guy. Oops. I said delete this guy. We're going to unmalfunction this so I don't have to see it all the time. And SMG Koi A is going to lose their leader. Now their leader is a 1 casualty victory point plus an extra 1 for the -1 modifier. So that's another 2. So Germans go up by 2 points, or 3 points this turn, which is like the most they've done so far. And I forgot, no, I calculated the +2, right? Okay, good. Good. So that's the routes. Now to hit move again, we'll take off this, and then we will take off. Actually, there's nothing else. Perfect. So advanced phase. So now I get a free move, or basically a free move. It's not necessarily that, but I get to move a bunch of German guys now. So first and foremost, I am taking this fortified building, which is amazing. I really want to take advantage of that. This guy is still CX'd, so should mark it. I'm gonna have, I'm not gonna risk it. I'm just gonna have that guy go there. I'm gonna have these guys separate so they're not getting shot at. Doing that is gonna remove this, but I'm fine with that. Shoutouts to the snipers also not doing anything this entire turn. That's usually pretty crazy. He's not gonna move. He's gonna go in the trench. Seriously? Guy. Alright, perfect. Alright, that's fixed. He's gonna advance here. These guys gonna stay where they're at. He's gonna advance there. And these guys are gonna advance there. Only reason I'm doing this is so that this guy's gonna have to split his shot between one or the other. They're both equally strong, and then when they retaliate, it'll still be their own fairly okay shot, and hopefully be able to. I want to be able to do something out of that because it's starting to bug me. I'm gonna have these guys go on the second level. Another thing to keep in mind too is that I'm actually doing really well in terms of like for the Germans in terms of space I've controlled or am controlling. So I don't really want to overdo it on where I'm, like how far and how deep I'm moving into this city, because ultimately, you know, pushing in is nice, and you have to grab a lot of territory as the Germans, like constantly, especially if you want to win scenarios. But it's not really going to matter at the end of the day if I don't want to capture too much too quickly, because then it's just going to make subsequent scenarios that much harder to capture stuff. So I don't really want to worry about it too much. Now I could advance there. He's pinned, so it's pretty good. He's not first line, so I wouldn't get ambushed. You know what? Yeah, let's do that. So he's going to advance, and this squad's going to advance. I'm going to have this guy advance, because I don't want to push my luck there. They're just going to stay there. Actually, this is a really good idea. I'm going to have that guy move there too. That way he's going to have the split between one of the two. Shouldn't get too lucky. Or he can run away. Either one. I guess I should have this mortar move up a little bit. Yeah. Okay. That guy's going to move up. This guy, I should move up here. Yeah, I think that's fine. Alright. Alright. So, close combat phase. I can take the... There's only one. I'm going to take the moves off. Now, the Germans advanced into a structure location, so there's going to be an ambush roll. They're not stealthy, so I don't have to worry about a bonus for them. However, we're going to do Germans first, just because they're attackers. So Germans are going to roll a 6, which is really bad. The Russians are going to roll a 3. If we go into our CC, we can look at these guys. So because they're conscripts, unfortunately they're lax. If I actually look at SSRs, I'm pretty sure there's a thing that states lax. Oh, maybe it's just the main. One of the main rules states that all inexperienced personnel are lax. Yeah, so A11.18 lax. All inexperienced personnel are considered lax. A lax unit must add a +1 to its ambush status, DR, concealment growth, searching, or search casualties, but neither of those are really coming into play at the moment. Check the main rules again. Reconnaissance, yeah, no. So those guys are lax, so they go up to 4, which is actually really lucky for me because I don't have to worry about, because that could have been an ambush and could have been really bad. What else? Leadership, no. CX, no. Oh, pinned. They're also pinned, so it's a +1. So they really wouldn't have gotten it even if they didn't. They weren't considered lax. All right. So now, basic gist of it is that I'm pretty sure I explained this a couple times already, but it's all about ratios. So you can choose, if there's multiple squads, you can choose to attack one only, say like this 467 versus this 226, or you can choose as one group, or etc. Now this guy's pinned, so his firepower is halved, so it's 1 firepower, and I don't have really good odds if it's a 1 to 5, and I don't have good odds if it's a 1 to 4, but I'd rather the 1 to 4. Meanwhile, the Germans, they're rolling on 9, and that is a 9 versus 1, it is a 9 to 2. So it's 4.5, which doesn't really come into play, but it's at least 4 to 1, right? So I'm going to want this 4 to 1 ratio. It's really good for me. There is nothing here, I believe, that applies. So there's a couple of things you need to look at, like, if there's a pin unit, leadership, DRM, so on. But I don't believe that's the case right now. Again, I don't think there's anything that really applies. So it's just going to be straight up. Germans are rolling on a 4 to 1 ratio, and this squad is, I guess technically, no, that would apply. Okay, never mind. So yeah, the Germans are running on a 9 to 1, so 8 to 1, because you apply the you don't do the DRM afterwards. That doesn't make sense. This versus concealed unit and guarding unit, that applies to the firepower, so it's something you calculate before the DRM. It's kind of a weird way it's presented in the table, but anyways, so so this Russian unit is a 1 to 4, so he needs a 3 or less, whereas the Germans need a 11 or less. Oh, yeah, there's no concealed or anything. So Germans first because they're attacking, and then Russians. So Germans, Russians. So that's actually like really lucky. The Russians were really close on actually succeeding, which is really crazy. Sadly, the Russian half squad is now a dead Russian half squad. That is another CVP for the Germans. They're at 9 now, finally. They're not even double digits. That should give you an indication of how bad things are going for them. Where did I put that counter? Off board? Yeah. How did I lose a counter? Where did I put this counter? Oh, there we go. Hiya. This goes like 1. This is SMG Koi with A, so there we go. Alright. And I think that's going to be turn for them. Yeah, alright. Next, the Soviet turn. Weather 4. Sadly, you can't activate snipers in a weather because it wouldn't make sense. So that is a great sniper roll that has just gone to waste. Stats, if you really want to look at it. There's not that I want to go on this like specific rant, but I know there was a bunch of people on Game Squad that were talking about like ratios, and someone's trying to implement this idea of like, oh, you should eliminate luck out of ASL, which doesn't make much sense. basically the implication is that if you suffer a really bad problem, like you should replace like dice with you should replace dice with like a deck of cards, like a deck of 52 cards, and every time you run out of the deck, you just like reshuffle it or whatever. And so like you know, one of your cards will be like Snake Eyes, and one of your cards will be this or that. But I think one of the failings of that mentality, just like we can see that the ratio is always going to be 7. It's going to be close to 7. And this isn't a lot of rolls either. But like there's an average for a reason. You should always average around 7. That's just how true random works. So I think this kind of puts this into perspective. Like, if you have a good roll at some point, you will suffer bad rolls. That is simply fact. That's just how it's always going to be. So anybody like Game Squad stuff for that thread, you know, that's my 2 cents about it. So thanks for listening to my TED talk, I guess. So Russian turn, we've already rolled weather, so now we're back into our rally phase. We are going to turn this back on so I can see all my rallies. Now again, I do have 2 self-rallies with the Russians, so I don't have any self-rallies for this guy on the roof, sadly. He can't route away, which sucks. I have to double check if that disrupt lasts forever or if it's just like a turn or whatever. I think it lasts forever, which sucks. But maybe I'm wrong. Disruption. Right. So, disruption A1912 says disrupted personnel remain disrupted until rallied or captured. So that's always an important thing. And also why it makes a unit being disrupted super annoying for all persons involved. So I have 2 squads I can see right away that don't have any leaders. So I'm going to self-rally or attempt self-rally for them first. So this guy, he gets a -1 for attempting for being in a building while self-rallying, but he also gets a +1 for the rally, so he's still at 7. He's actually boosted to 8 for the fanatic, so he comes back, which is good. And he's also going to attempt, and he's also going to succeed. And he's also fanatic, so there we go. Alright, so those guys get fanatic. I have a leader over here and a leader here. I'm going to try my luck on this guy first. So, rally. Nope. So, that guy's stuck. And this guy is going to attempt rally. He's also stuck. Kind of wish I'd gotten this 4 for them, but whatever. Germans are going to... Oh, I need to take pins off too, sorry. Alright. I also need to rally some German guys. Let's open them all up. Also need to try and fix stuff. This guy should be above. Expand that. There we go. Alright, so I can't rally this guy. There's no leader with him, so I can close that. That's just a broken thing. So we're going to go with this broken leader first. Self-rally. He gets a +1, but that's still fine, so he succeeds. He's going to attempt automatically, or right away, to rally that guy with 7. He's got a -1. So he's also going to come back, which is great. He's going to try and self-rally this guy. It's a 7. He passes. This leader is going to attempt to rally this guy, which passes. Man, these Germans are getting really good at rallying here. I'm going to open this up just to keep that HMG in front of my mind here. This leader is going to attempt to rally this guy. So there's a -1. So that's... so that would be 8 with the +4, -1 is 7, and then another -1 for the building. So he actually passes, which is great. Again, I never get this lucky on my rallying rolls. Something's going on. This guy will sadly. I don't think there's any way this guy can come back. So 7, 11, 11 -2, so 9 -1. No, so he's. So this DC guy is the only guy that did not rally. There you go. Alright, broken guns and such we're gonna try. He's gonna try and repair this. Nope, sadly. And a machine gun. Machine gun's back. All right. So that's that for rallies. Yeah, perfect. Take off DMs and take that off. All right, time for some Russian shots. We're going to. Sorry, here. I'm just gonna text people here. Actually, you know what? Permit me one moment. It does not need to be 30 degrees in this basement. My God. All right. So Russian prep fire. What do I want to shoot at or with? I could shoot this guy here, but honestly, I kind of want to give up this position. I don't like this squad being exposed, especially not at that level. That's just dangerous. You know what? This is crazy, kinda, but I might just. Oh no, that's gonna be way too much. No, I have to wait till. Yeah, I was gonna have this stack and this stack shoot at this, but the problem is that the smoke is gonna give a +4 for shooting out of it, and then there's also the +4 for this fortified building. So unless I get like the magic roll, it's not gonna do anything. Yeah, so that's not gonna work. I could shoot with these guys, but the question is, do I want to shoot or do I want to just surrender these 2 blocks? If I move back, they're safe. So I probably don't want to shoot with these guys. I can go into the trench and then just try to hold out, or go back here too, just trying to hold out there. It's probably the smarter option there. Did I try to rally this guy? Did I? I don't think I did. No, that's right. He had the DM. I think that's what it was. Alright. He's not gonna shoot because that's not really a good shot. I kind of want him to like run away. At least come here and just kind of like delay stuff. I might actually be able to get him into the sewers, and I could probably try to escape out of that, which would be interesting. This guy, I want him to run. I don't want him to shoot. I can shoot these 2 guys. Ah, that's right. Those guys are broken. These guys are broken, so that's not going to help. I might as well have these guys shoot here. So that's going to be 6 firepower with a +3. Why not? Nope. That's a miss. That's a miss. I kind of want to pull this guy back so he doesn't get shot at, because he's probably going to get disrupted too, which is the worst. He can't really make a shot. I'm gonna just hold this guy there. This guy can run some more and just try to get around. Oh, you know what? I'm gonna have this guy shoot. I'm gonna have him shoot into. Do I want the leader, or do I want this? You know, screw it. I'll just do that guy. So this guy's gonna shoot here. So we're gonna range of 6. So 8 firepower, up 1 after all modifiers. Ah, come on. That's 10. Nope. Not even. No rate of fire either. Seriously. Okay. I mean, I might as well do something with these guys. So I'm gonna have these guys shoot here. I think that's just gonna be a 6 firepower. Or whoops. Here to there. 5. That's a. Yeah, that's just 6 firepower. I'm not shooting. Should I shoot with the machine gun? No, because that'd only bring it up to 8, which isn't great at all. Alright, so 6 firepower, up 5, I think. Yeah, no. Wasn't gonna give me anything anyways. Yeah, I think this is gonna be a turn where I just like delay a lot of stuff so I don't die horribly. Especially with the tanks coming soon. Very, very, very soon. So we're just gonna go straight into movement phase. What do I want to move? Again, this guy's gonna go here, but on the first floor instead of anywhere else. Oops. So first floor, so it's gonna cost him 3 to get in here, so he can't go anywhere else. This guy's fine where he is. This guy's just gonna go here under the there we go. Under the trench for 2. But I like the idea of him. If I can block. I can block moving here. If I go here, he can get shot at. You know what? Nah, he'll just stay there. He's gonna assault move into this factory to get that. Mainly to get this fanatical bonus. I guess I should probably move him here. Yeah, I'll move him here instead. Or yeah, I could at least go in there and there. Whatever. It's still 4. He should be safe. And he's got the +3, so it doesn't really matter. He's getting the hell out of dodge. That's 1. Or, sorry, that's 2. It's 4. Getting into... probably finish this turn. There. Alright. Sorry, just real life stuff. I might end it after this this turn, sadly. But, you know, I'll always have... Maybe tomorrow I'll do some more streaming. So what we're going to try and do, and see if I can get into the sewer. Because these little round circles, that implies or implicates a sewer being available in the building. It's kind of a odd thing to think about, but you know what? Best not to really think about getting into sewers. Campaign game. Actually, do I have sewers? I will admit this is the first time I've actually used sewers, so we'll see if I can actually get in there and how that's going to apply. Sewers represent large draining systems found beneath ground level in major cities and create new locations below the ground level of city boards. Sewers are not usable unless specified by SSR and allow infantry to move beneath the surface. That is correct. Sewer location, attack, sewer movement. Only good order infantry may enter a sewer system from a manhole location and only at the start of their movement factor. Damn it. Or movement phase. Alright, so that guy's kind of porked no matter what. So I'm just going to do 1 to get him out of there. 2. Or sorry, that's 4. I guess I could assault move here, but I mean, he's still under threat. If I go here, I can at least like run away if I really want to, or if like he breaks, at least there's line of stuff that cuts line of sight. So you know what? I'm gonna keep him here. Maybe he'll survive. Maybe. Anybody else I want to move? No, I think that's gonna be it other than these large stacks. So speaking of large stacks, these guys all CX last turn. Wait, I CX in the first turn, so they couldn't CX in the second, so they can CX now. Speaking of, let's CX these boys. It's -1, 3, So yeah, they can still carry that. So looking at 1, 2, 3, because orchards is just hindrance, right? Orchard charts. Orchard shouldn't be more than 1. Yeah. Okay. So 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then I can just advance into a building, and I'm starting to get there. I'm starting to actually be able to like reinforce groups, which is really good. I'm gonna have him do mostly the same thing, I guess. I can't bypass. Actually, you know what? So 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. This will be kind of the same thing. 1, 3, 4, 5, 6. Because they don't have a leader, so they can't go further. These guys are going to CX. No leader, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. These guys are going to CX. 1, oops. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Two, 3, bypass for 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I think 7, 8 to get there. This is gonna be 2, bypass for 3, 4, 5, 6, because I don't think there's a leader. Yeah, no leader, so 6. These guys are going to CX. Man, this is a terrible spot. So that's going to be 3, 4, 5, 6. These guys will be 1, 2 for bypass, 3 for bypass, 4, 5, 6. Oops, 6. No leader. And these guys as well will be 2, 3, 4 bypass, 5, 6. That's those guys moved. Yeah, I'm finally getting there. I'm getting really close to all these like reinforcements that I really want. Because man, this is like having these guys try to like go the entire map is really bad. I think for the next couple times I'm definitely going to spend, because it costs extra. For those who don't know, it costs extra PPC or CPP, campaign purchase points. It costs more CPP to put a unit on map, and I kind of wanted to like I really wanted some units, especially like tanks and stuff. But the only way to do that would be to get them off map. So kind of had that limitation, sadly. This tank to go across ahead. What about debris? Ah, damn it! It's not in this chart. Okay, I thought that was going to be a lot easier. So debris has special interactions because it's it's a special thing for the Stalingrad map. Now, when it comes to a tank, so for debris, it states the only vehicle type that may enter debris is a fully tracked AFV, which those tanks are, which does so by expending a quarter, fraction rounded up, of its movement point allotment and taking a bod check. A bod check basically means that you could eventually stall or immobilize your own tank while trying to do something like that, which actually like really sucks. And some idiot is using my email to register stuff. That's cool. So these guys are already in motion. There's 14 points. That's not so bad, I guess. So 1, and then that's a quarter rounded up. So 3, so it's 4. So it's I've spent 5 points. I have to do a bod check. So bog check, because it's been so friggin' long since the last time I did bog check. Bog check is generally 2 dice. Yeah, so bog is D 8.2. Bog occurs only when a vehicle fails a bog check. The dice roll. A vehicle must make a bog check as dictated by the terrain chart for entering or exiting any making any vehicle covered arc change. 1 bog DR per hex spawn. Certain terrain types termed bog hexes. The bog effect always takes place in the bog hex, whether a vehicle is attempting to enter or leaving. The bog vehicle may not exit its current location or change its vehicle covered arc until freed, and therefore is immobile, but may change its turret covered arc if otherwise able to. So this could kind of be a make or break. Bog check. If a final bog check DR is 12 or more, the vehicle bogs, is marked at the bog counter, and must end its movement phase immediately. The original bog check DR is subject to the following cumulative DRM. So, actually, I forgot all about this. So, there's a couple things that need to be checked. First and foremost, if the vehicle has normal ground pressure, high ground pressure, or so on, because those will modify. So, you actually need to look into the vehicle counters and see if your vehicle has a low or high ground pressure or whatever. So, the vehicle letter, which in this case is bottom right, just because the way they're rotated, is encased in a square, which means it has a low ground pressure, which means I am safe for now on that modifier. I should actually just do the twin dice roll right now. So dice roll. I should probably put it on the right task check or whatever, but who cares? So that's 5. There's a +1 for the debris, +1 for the leader, because the leaders are all 6.1 garbage. They're 6 + 1, not 0.1. I don't think the ground is soft, snow covered, or mud. It's not deep snow. No, I think it's fine. Okay, so that guy passes. So he's at 9 movement factors, so or left. So it was basically 5 points. So 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Oh, that works. Is Crook exposed? He is. Okay, so, sorry. This is something that's also very important. So, and I don't know why I wasn't calculating it. Rifle company is going to let me know. Right, so those guys move there. Alright, so, because it's crew exposed, it's actually half move-in point cost for roads. I don't know why I wasn't thinking about that. So, 0.5. Again, this was 4 points. So 4.5, 5, 5.5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There's no way these two can see each other, especially the wall. 10 is already aiming down there. Yeah. 10, and I'm just going to cut his engine. I'm going to have him be like basically like a sort of stopgap, because I don't... He can shoot, basically he can shoot along this wall, although it's only going to get to C22 because this debris blocks it, but at least it's something for now. And in the future, if, like, I'm going to try and get this tank to go, say, here, and try to get hull down behind this wall, which should give him some advantages. So, speaking of, this guy's going to do 0.5, 1.5, I might as well try going through here. It's bog check. He's fine. Does a bog check, I guess, count? Does a bog check count as a task check? I guess it does. And snipers activate on task checks, I guess. Yeah. Activation, task check, to hit, round check, non-OBA, entrenching. I guess technically bog, it doesn't date, it's a task check. It's just a bog check. So I guess that wouldn't count. Because under normal circumstances, the game would, like, if it applied, there would be a specific thing, like a specific, I don't want to say code word or whatever. If you're bogged, you do a task check, sure, but bogging in and of itself, I don't believe is a task check, but that doesn't really make sense. You know what? I'm just going to count as a task check. Whatever. Sniper doesn't activate anyway, so whatever. So that was 1.5 plus 4, so 5.5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10. Then I'm going to uncrew expose. I'm going to bundle up for 11. 11, 12. Alright, now I gotta... Because now, so here's the thing. Here's the thing I need to look up. So there's such a thing as being able to hull down. So basically you position your tank so that you are you're only exposing your turret, which makes it really hard for an opponent to try and shoot at you. A vehicle target fired on by direct ordnance through a wall, bocage, roadblock, hexside that would affect that fire with a +2 or +1 TEM is instead considered hull down to that fire. Perfect. So I didn't even need to like do anything. Okay, so he's gonna go here. Now, I believe that was like 13 or whatever. I'm at a crossroads here. Because basically, I can delay, and it's gonna make it like hard for no matter, oh no wait, this is wall. Damn it. I can't actually go there. Okay, I'm just gonna, I blanked on this completely. That's dumb of me. Alright, well, he's just going to kill motion, so he's at 14, but that's going to be dangerous if anybody ever tries to move. And in fact, if I move this tank up, say, to 824, now he's got line of sight here. But I don't necessarily want to give away, like, I might just go to 823. Wow, that sucks. I didn't think about that. Or at least I didn't, I don't know. To me, that blends in. Does that blend in for you guys? Maybe. Maybe not. Now I'm just noticing it all the time. Alright, next up is this last tank, and I think that's it for the moves. So, you can see how, like, you know, when it comes to Stalingrad, at least the further you get in, the worse line of sight you have, the less shots you can actually make. So there's a lot more emphasis on moving around and doing stuff. This guy is pointed directly left, directly west. How do I want to get through this? You know what? I'm going to rotate him, and then I'm just going to go like, up here or whatever. Or actually, I can go up here. I can go up here and try to do it that way. That sounds good to me. Okay, so he's already in motion, so I don't need to pay the 1. So I'm going to rotate him 1. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Oof. I don't. See, now this is very dangerous. I guess this would be a really tough shot to make anyways. But that's 9. I can do 10, rotate and then shoot, but that's a lot of firepower coming this way. I don't have anything to really... So at 9. I really don't want to risk throwing this guy away, because this is still dangerous. You know what? Yeah, I don't like this, but so 8.59, because I think this guy would have been able to shoot here. Maybe not. I don't know. I don't want to risk it. I'm just gonna have this guy shoot, because I'm not taking that risk. Not with this tank, anyways. So this Panzer's gonna try to shoot this guy at this tank. So to hit, that's a 5, but I really don't think that's gonna do anything. And the reason I say this is that the fire is not moving. He is buttoned up though, so it's a +1, so it's already 6. Yeah, that's already 6. What's the range on this? 8? Yeah, 8. Could he have shot there? He absolutely could. It clips corners, but not enough to actually prevent line of sight. And that would have, yeah, if I had parked here and stopped, this guy could have shot and then just like messed him up. So that's a 6 automatically for being bundled up. I don't think there's anything else in terms of fire. However, target based. So defensive first fire versus moving vehicle is what it would be. And because it's less than 1 movement point in fire's LOS, that's an automatic +4. So we're at 10 already on a 9, and I don't have any minuses. It's a small tank. It's already a small tank, so there's some modifiers to that as well. Target size over here, and yeah. So he's not gonna hit. And he also doesn't have rate of fire, which is nice, I guess. I'll take that. So that was 9. I'm gonna bypass for 10. I was pretty sure it costs us 10. I'm gonna button up because I don't trust this. For 11, 12, and then 13. Oops, that's not what I wanted to do. Come on, I'll get it soon. Alright, so this is what, 13 now? And if I stop, so 14, I think. I'm pretty sure I'm at 14, and I don't think this will give me a shot here, but at least I'll be able to like, mitigate any further advances. And on the next turn, I could also just like advance a little bit or move up a little bit. And I can at least like shoot into this crowd, so it shouldn't be too hard. I don't know. Kind of hedging my bets on that one. Alright, that's it for the moves. It's defensive first fire, or defensive fire phase. Yeah, boy. I think these guys are going to keep on their war. Can I even shoot with the half squad? I don't think it's going to matter all that much, but yeah, I can't shoot with the half squad, but it's still 9, so I'm still on the 8 firepower, the -1. I'm shooting at the squad with the HMG because do I want to shoot at the broken guys? Not really. So I'm just going to shoot at the leader. Yeah, okay. Again, this is the 2nd time in a row, by the way, that those guys break that gun. I should mark these as final fire. What else can I shoot with? These guys are going to shoot at this group. That's oh, hey. Of course the Russian sniper always activates. So this we'll just worry about the sniper later. These 2, that's 8. I've got line of sight, that's 8 firepower. That's 4 on 8 plus 3. So 7 on 8. 7 on 8, 1 MC. MC, that guy pins, and that guy's fine. So this guy pins. All right, where are my snipers? I think they're both up here. Oh yeah, they're right. All right, so I'm gonna roll for left sniper first, and then right sniper second. Whoever gets the lowest roll wins. All right, so left sniper, what are your directions? So it's there, and the closest guy. Really? That's gonna what pin? Oh right. So it's Alright, so this guy, his closest target is 1, 2, 3. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Yeah. Yes, go here. Now, he has the option. I now have to pick random selection. It could wound the leader, which would suck, or it could pin squads. It's basically the only two things that could happen. So, top to bottom, random selection. If there's ties, they just means the equal. So, leader, squad, half squad. Alright, so half squad pins. It is possible. Dice gods be with you and all that. It is possible for you to roll like quadruples, and if that's the case, that just means that 4 of your units are now dead, dying, or whatever the case may be. So it sucks when that happens, but that's sometimes you just can't help being diced, as they say, I guess. Right, so that is done. That guy's shot. Those guys shot, so we're gonna final fire these guys. I will have this stack shoot here. Might as well. This stack shoot there. 5 range. 5 range gives me 4, 9, 10. It's not going to matter. I'm not going to bother with the half squad. Leader's going to jump in, so that's 8 firepower. 8 firepower up 3 for 10, down 1, 9. I think 9 on 8 is a pintash shack? Yeah. Not going to do anything, but whatever. Oh, pinned. Again, not that it's... Pinning at this point in the turn doesn't matter all that much. Advancing fire can come into play, sure, but especially when they haven't moved and you probably know they're not going to do much or won't have a lot of firepower, it's not usually something to worry about too much. The machine gun on the second level, I guess I might take the same shot. It's range of 5. Yeah, so 2.5, so that's just 6, but oh, I should have shot this guy, whatever. So that's 6 firepower, up 3, so that's 8 on 6. That's pin test check. Yeah, he's already pinned, so there's no point. If these guys were German, I would have tried the pin test check again. Actually, I should just do it to roll for it. But you can't get pinned twice. But in the Stalingrad campaign, there is what's called booby traps, and if you for the Germans, if they ever get a task check and they roll a 12, they suffer casualty reduction to that squad, which is like. That's important. That is really important. So something to keep in mind. I should have probably shot with these guys when these guys moved, but whatever. So I'll just take the shot now. That is 4 range. It's 8 firepower. Yeah, 8 firepower up 2. Okay, that sucks for the Russians. So that is a 5 on 8, which is a 2 morale check, and I get rate of fire with that machine gun. So 2 morale check. He's fine. He's gonna break. Typical. That's a 2 morale check, was it? 5 on 8? Yeah, that's a 2 morale check, which means 11. So this guy's actually gonna ELR, which means I have to unbreak him because you can't ELR a broken unit, which is dumb. So he's gonna ELR, going down to conscripts, which is bad. And sniper activations, German snipers are snoozing again. He has rate of fire, so I'm just going to shoot at him again, and obviously that's going to malfunction. What else? That's final fired. Not bad. Can I make any other shots? I don't think you can. No, I don't think there's any other shots for me as the Germans. I guess I could attempt. I could try having this guy shoot somewhere. This guy could shoot somewhere as well, I guess. I don't really know where though. Like, I guess, you know what? I'll just have him shoot at the disrupted squad. So it's like a straight 6 or a straight 4 firepower shot. Yeah, straight 4 firepower shot. 7. 7 on 4, I think. Yeah, pin test check. It's just gonna put a DM on him, which I mean, I guess is useful, but it doesn't really matter all that much. I feel like I should try a shot with this group, but I also don't know if that would actually do anything. Can I shoot? Oh no, I didn't. Okay. Well, I gotta try. This machine gun is going to attempt to shoot at this tank, which I think he can hit. Yeah. So to hit, that is. So the reason I'm doing this is that machine guns can penetrate vehicles. It's very rare. You kind of need to fall under a lot of to get really lucky, basically. A tank like the T-70 is something that probably would be able to get penetrated if it was really close or if you got really lucky, especially if you're using armor-piercing rounds, which is kind of the idea in this case. So this heavy machine gun, it's a 7. The ordnance to hit for a vehicle at range 7 is 9. There's not really any modifiers, no TM. It's, you know, there's actually there would be, I guess, a +2 or a -2 to the roll to the number for the small size, but I don't think there's anything else. So small size does come into play, but other than that, it's not concealed. Yeah, that's it. So he does hit. The thing to keep in mind is that machine guns, because they're such small caliber, don't have an acquisition counter. So every time you roll, it's basically a new roll. So that's going to hit him in the turret. So what we're going to do now is on the vehicle to kill table, we're going to look and we see that MG in purple. It can't be further. It can't be halved a FP, which makes sense. But so MG is the worst type again. So obviously something to keep in mind. It's a to kill number 4, or black to kill number 4, and the tank in the turret. I believe that is a. It might have actually just 4. So that would be improbable kill, I think, is what you'd have to look up. What would it be? Improbable hits. Nope, that's not. Or maybe I think they call it unlikely kill, Amy? Nope. This is gonna bug me because there's a specific condition if there's no way to kill something, even though if you can't penetrate it. I think if in a critical it changes, but maybe I'm wrong. Anyways, I guess I'll just have to make a note and try to check that some other time. However, coming back to this whole thing, so we can see that the front armor is 6, the side rear armor is 4. The angle I'm shooting at right now would be the front armor. However, there is a circle on this thing, which indicates that this is an inferior. Actually, no, you know what? That's not, because it's not a encased circle. That's just a white circle, which is the target size? Small target size? Yeah, okay. It's just a +1. Okay. So, yeah, it's a 6, so I can't even penetrate. Can I get anything else out of it, though? Yeah, even on a +1, I don't think I can do anything about that. if I do, I should have done TK, but even a TK wouldn't have done anything. That sucks. Yeah, so I guess it's technically possible to critical hit a tank with the MG. It's just like it happens so rarely. I really have to. I'm gonna have to look it up, just or look up a couple things just to make sure. But I'll save that for another the next time. Also using target type. Yep. Basic decay and yep. Okay, whatever. Anyways, so don't penetrate, unfortunately, but I still have rate of fire thanks to the colored 3 here. So let's try again. And it's going to be a hull shot, but same idea. Like even if I did hit, it wouldn't actually do anything. So that's going to be his final fire. I like the idea of taking this group and shooting him here. It is what 8, 13, 12. That's 12 firepower. You know what? Why not? And they cower, so it's not actually going to be 14 or 12. Whatever. So instead of 12, it's going to be 8. That was 8. 11, 15? No. Sorry, 13? Whatever. Not gonna make it. Darn that smoke. Sometimes. These guys could shoot. Let's see if I can. I'm gonna try shooting at the. I'm gonna shoot at the guy on the roof. That's 7 range. So 2.5, 3, so 5.5, 9.5. 10.5, so that's just an 8 firepower, so I'm not even going to shoot with the anti-tank rifle, but leader's going to organize that, so those 8 firepower, 6 on 8, is it 1 morale check? Yeah, 1 morale check on that guy. 1 morale check. And he breaks. Actually, he's going to casualty reduce, but I think no, he's already disrupted, so he can't go lower. So he's going to turn into half squad, and I'm going to clone him so I can get put him on the side there and get that extra point. All right. All right, and I think that's going to be it for defensive fire. Advancing fire, I can't think of anything I'd want to advance fire. I already took most of my shots in the prep fire phase. This guy can't shoot anything. This guy. Can I advancing fire an anti-tank rifle? Anti-tank rifle. Constitutes as a sport weapon. Yeah, okay. So I just wouldn't have. Alright. So this anti-tank rifle is going to try and shoot at this Stug. Or Stug, or however you want to call it. So to hit. It's an 8. So, yeah, it's range of 3, so I don't get any close bonus, which sucks. But I do need a 10. That's an 8. It is a small size, so +1, +2, plus an extra 2 for motion. So we're already looking at 11. Can I get a minus anywhere? Not a point blank range. Nope. Which kind of sucks. Although, at least on the positive side, if this tank even ever moves, I'll get a free shot up the tailpipe. So can't shoot with that guy, or at least can't do anything with that roll, which sucks. They prep fired. There's nobody there. Oh, you know what? No, that doesn't make sense. I shouldn't do that. Because what I was thinking of doing is I could take this anti-tank gun and just shoot here, and the idea would be to give myself acquisition, but which is actually, if you have mortars and you don't really know what to do with them, that's actually a really good idea. Because if you know, let's say I had a mortar out over here on V4, and I knew the Germans were gonna come through this road. And more specifically, that maybe I had these 3 cells or hexes covered, but not these 2. what you would do is you'd take a mortar and you just have him shoot. You wouldn't put smoke or anything. I mean, you don't have to put smoke. You could just have him shoot. And the idea is that the next time that the Germans would run a guy through, you already have acquisition, because you're not shooting at the unit, you're shooting at the area. So you could just you can basically give yourself a free -2 right off the bat, which is particularly important for purposes of ASL. Yeah, I don't think there's any other shots I can make, so I'm just gonna go route phase. I'm gonna make sure to take off all my prep fires, my defensive fires. Where are my broken units? Alright, so this guy I don't care. I don't want to rally him. This guy's just pinned, so whatever. I don't care about moving any of these guys. This guy being broken really sucks, so I'm going to take this guy in a voluntary route. And I'm going to get him into this building. So that's 2, that's 4, that's 6 to get over here. You should be protected, and they're both going to get fanatic. These guys are broken, and I don't want to move them. I can attempt rally next turn, so I don't feel like I need to move them or anything. That guy's broken. That guy's just broken. Whatever. Yeah, I think that's it. So, advanced fire phase or advanced phase. The Russians. This is tough. Oh, you know what? I don't think both these guys. I think it was just the top guy. So I'm gonna have this guy advance there, just to kind of split them out because they're being shot at, and I really don't want to lose. I really don't feel like losing an extra squad for no reason. I'm gonna have this guy advance here to be less in the line of fire. Actually, you know what? No, I'm gonna keep him here because he's where the sewer is, and if anything, I can like move him away and like go places. Like I go well. Can't really go anywhere from here, but you know, the options. He's fine where he is. These guys have to. These guys are going to have to advance, but I don't think anybody else up here is necessary. I guess I could have moved this guy, but whatever. Advance. 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 You move. Sure, why not? Alright, I think that's it. The Russians will probably need like probably another 2 turns to get to the action, which sucks. But they'll get there. I mean, the tanks are almost in place, so that's nice. I finally have something to beef them up over there. This tank up here is at least gonna like try to delay. I'm gonna have to make a push with these guys because this is getting crazy. I have too many tanks here, so I'm gonna have to move tanks and just like face the wrath of this AT gun, which is gonna suck. But you know, if I'm gonna lose a tank, I might as well lose a Panzer, I guess, a Panzer III that I got for free, rather than anything I paid for. Yeah. So I think that's gonna be it for right now, for today. I'll probably come back tomorrow. Probably gonna try and do something tomorrow with regards to another stream. If not, then thanks for watching. As always, I'm always grateful that people are, you know, just giving me the time of day. It's always nice. Always nice to see people that are interested in Advanced Squad Leader. If you want your name as a counter, please let me know, because it's always fun seeing, just kind of evaluating how some non or named characters do compared to other stuff, and creating interesting stories and all that. So yeah, if you want, drop me a line or whatever, so I can put your name in as a character. Obviously, if there's anything stupid or like dumb names, I'm not gonna put them in, but whatever. Anyways, again, thanks for watching. As always, I will see you next time, whether that is tomorrow or at another undisclosed future date.